Welcome to the show, everybody. We are a few days away, well, a little bit more than a few days away from the NFL draft. So why not continue with the mock drafts here, feeling the lay of the land before the NFL draft. In this video, we're going to be drafting from the sixth position. I like that mid-first round type feel. And I'm going to be doing the first 5 rounds, going over all the optimal players to draft in the first 5 rounds pre-NFL draft. Now, as soon as this draft happens, there's a lot of guys that could slide up, guys like Omarion Hampton and others, particularly at the running back position. If they land in the right spot, I'd be tempted to get them a little earlier, maybe a round or two above their ADP, depending on where they fall. So I'm excited, guys. I'm going to pull up the draft board here. We're going to have fun in the simulation. Now, this simulation is based on ADP consensus, aka Sheeps' rankings. You don't want to be drafting based on consensus rankings. So I'm going to give you guys some of my thought process as we go through this, okay? Because last year, everyone told you CMC first overall. I was like, don't do it. Everyone told you Tyreek Hill round 1. I'm like, don't do it. Everyone told you Deebo Samuel and Ayuk. You know, nobody not knowing who the wide receiver 1 was on that team. And Ayuk wasn't that good anyway. Round 3 is what they told you, and on and on and on and on and on, right? And they jumped on the Laporta train, getting him in the second round when we were getting him in the 10th round the year before. So it's always about being a year ahead while everybody's kind of riding last year. You know what I mean? They're just kind of copying and pasting. We're thinking forward. So guys, if you guys do want to smash your leagues, make sure you guys pre-order the 16-round draft solution. I've linked it below. And I'm telling you guys, use code DRAFT. There's a limited deal right now, 20% off. Use code DRAFT. I've linked it below. And there's going to be an adder at the end of the course. I'm going to be adding a new course, right? And it's the Fantasy Vault, giving you all the websites that I go to for my research, a lot of inside information in this one little mini course there. It's called the Fantasy Vault. That is going to be exclusive. In there, once you sign up for 60 rounds, there's going to be an adder. Make sure you guys add the Vault course as well, okay? But use code DRAFT to save grab 16 rounds. All right, let's pull it up here, the mock draft here, and we'll get right to it. Now, again, this is just a simulation. It's a mock draft. If you're listening in the car, we are going to the first round. Here we go. So we got Saquon coming off first overall. We got Bijan coming off at number 2. We got Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs. And I could definitely foresee this happening. You definitely you're going to see those running backs coming off a lot earlier. More people are believing, right? I told you last year, grab Saquon at the end of round 1, stack him with Henry last year, go robust RB while everyone was going wide receiver, because there's wide receivers for days later on. Okay, guys? Like you were able to get Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey later on, while everybody was so busy, getting wide receivers early, you were getting them later, the potential wide receiver 1 on that team. So you always got to be thinking outside the box and get the value, because running backs is only a handful of them, right? So let's go through this. Let's see the best available running back here at the 6th position. Now, here's the tricky part here, right? Where you're going to probably get a little bit messed up if you are listening to the Consheepsis, okay? I like Derrick Henry. Like, listen, I was the guy riding Derrick Henry for years when people were telling you Damian Williams was better than Derrick Henry. I'm like, guys, not true. Henry's the king. And then he broke out, and now everybody's riding him, coming off this astronomical year, just under 2,000 yards rushing, 320 plus attempts. Like, it's a lot, man. So is he going to duplicate that? Unlikely. I like them better in the second round value this year. And again, he still could be safe. There's no committee at the time of this recording. Now, what I was hearing, I keep talking about this, they were flirting with Ashton Jeanty. And they're picking later in the draft. Unless they move up, they're not going to get Jeanty. But the fact that they were doing that is kind of concerning. It means like they're kind of moving on from Derrick Henry. You got to think. You got to see what they're doing, right? So again, like, I don't know. I don't trust Henry that much. I mean, Taylor, I don't trust him at all. He's very expensive. I mean, what has he done? He always gets hurt. He never finishes seasons, right? Jacobs is safe. I don't know, man. He's just not exciting. Then I look at the next available guy, and it's Jeanty. Depending on where Jeanty lands, I'm hoping he lands on the Raiders. There is rumors that he might end up on the Jets, which would be an absolute disaster because they want to run a committee there with Breece Hall. Absolute disaster. So I don't know where he's going to land. But the way that it sits, man, I think he's the safest play here, as long as he's not on the Jets, that I would grab Jeanty here at the 6. Again, Henry, Taylor, Jacobs, we've kind of seen what these guys can do and what they can't do, kind of seen the best of them. I'm not expecting some sort of Saquon Barkley type year from last year. They're going to have explosive runs and dominate the league. And they don't, I'm looking for the next best thing that'll explode on the scene. And I'm going to go ahead and draft Ashton Jeanty at the 6th position, continuously looking at the running back. So let's go through the first round. Jeanty comes off, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra, and Malik Nabers coming off here in the first round. Now, as you can notice here, last year, Malik was not a consideration in the first round. That's what I'm telling you, man. You got to take a look at some of these rookies coming in, depending on where they land. If you got 16 rounds last year, I'm telling you, go get 16 rounds this year. You would have been able to secure Malik, especially in like Dynasty and stuff like that. Same with Brian Thomas. I mean, this guy was coming off in the 9th round. They had Christian Kirk ahead of him. Now he's coming off early round 2, late round 1. Wild. And I don't want to pay that now. I liked him better last year. It's the same thing. I liked Laporta, right? 2 years ago, right? And everybody was on him last year in the second round. I'm like, dude, I liked them the year before. That's where you find the value when you grab 16 rounds. No one's telling you this stuff, which is wild. It's unbelievable how they don't tell you this stuff because they're sheep and they think they're playing it safe. They're like, oh, well, we're just going to tell you to draft last year's top finishers. It's actually going to hurt you more playing it safe, right? You got to get out of your comfort zone. That's how you win at fantasy football, all right? So let's go over the second round here. We got Brian Thomas. Well, let's finish out the first round. After Jeanty went CeeDee Lamb, Nico, Puka, Henry, Amon-Ra, Malik. And again, in 16 rounds, I explain what to do here with some of these guys. Like, I'm not really excited about Puka this year. They added Devontae Adams. Puka's already talking about playing another sport, basketball at the age of 30. Like, I don't know, man. Just doesn't excite me when players talk about other sports when you should be focusing on yours. Again, Amon-Ra, Malik. Amon-Ra's safe. Malik, and then Brian Thomas Jr., then Josh Jacobs, Taylor, Achane, which I don't know if I trust Achane either. That's a whole other story. A.J. Brown, and then Brock Bowers. See, again, they're just riding Brock Bowers, right? Young, dynamic opportunity for him to really shine this year. So I get it, right? But where's your Laporta, right? Why don't you love him on Laporta now, right? He's dropped. So it's just them just riding what's kind of hot from last year. So we're up. And I got to take a look at the running back position. And I did this on the last mock draft. I'm kind of stuck in the situation here where I know I got to go running back. I take a quick glance at wide receiver. And look at this, Ladd McConkey coming off in the second round. We were getting this guy last year in the 9th round. 7th to 9 was kind of where he was coming off. Now he's coming off in round 2. That is crazy. Drake London, I definitely see him having a good year. Penix depends on what he does. Higgins, I'm definitely not drafting. This is one thing you got to learn here when you learn my stuff. You never, ever, ever, ever draft a wide receiver 2 on the team, especially in the early rounds. You don't draft a wide receiver 2 in general. Last year, I was drafting Brian Thomas Jr. and McConkey, the ones, right? I'm still aiming on the high of the depth chart. I'm still working to get the ones. And getting him in the 7th, 8th round, right? So why would I even consider looking at a wide receiver 2, knowing he's a wide receiver 2, the second fiddle, in the second round? Now you can say, well, Joey's still going to get volume. I don't care. I want top tier guys. Never settle in fantasy. Always aim high in the depth chart, especially in the second round. Now, a couple years ago, Higgins came off in the second round. I remember everything, guys. And he busted. And then last year had a decent year. Now he's back up. Like, it's crazy. So I don't like this, man, at all. Now, Jackson Smith has some upside here for sure. But again, these wide receivers, I think I can get value later, okay? So let's take a quick glance at running back. Again, I did it in my last draft. I went Kyren Williams. I think Bucky has a good year. He's kind of emerges the one. Bucky Irving's probably a safe play here, okay? So I'd probably go him or Kyren Williams. Again, Chase Brown, we're going to have to see. I really doubt that they're going to stick with Chase Brown. I think they're going to draft a rookie. Are the Bengals, and then McCaffrey. I like McCaffrey's value if I get him in the 3rd round better than I did, last year, 1st overall. I think he bounces back as long as he stays healthy, can be efficient, but just not as exciting. But I love how, the hype has kind of gone down. So I either look at Bucky or Kyren here. I have to take a look at some of where these rookies land. I'd be interested in Amari and Hampton. We got to see. Henderson, I'm not as excited about. Judkins could be good as well. Again, if these guys, their ADPs is lower, I'd wait to get them. You don't have to push in the second round to get them. But I'm just keeping an eye on kind of where these rookie running backs land and keep an eye on them. But as of right now, I think Kyren is the safest bet. They've drafted Blake Corum last year, didn't do anything. So I'm going to go here again with Kyren Williams, just kind of see how it's fallen for me the past couple drafts and just kind of the way I like it. So again, I did it in my last draft, Christian McCaffrey. I think it's great value 3rd round. Then I've got robust RB. Take a quick glance at wide receiver. I think Jackson Smith has some upside this year. Marvin Harrison Harrison, I love his third to fourth round value compared to where he was coming off late first round, early second last year. So again, wide receivers for days, still a ton of wide receiver ones here. McMillan here, rookie. There could be some upside depending on where he lands. And you're still getting guys like Olave, who's not overly exciting. You know, Pickens, who could be the one. Ridley could be the one. They draft Cam Ward. It could definitely boost Ridley's value. You know, you've got, who we got? Imaka Egbuka. I mean, depending on where he lands, rookie could be solid. So there's still tons of wide receivers here. I take a quick glance at quarterback, maybe anchor my team with an ace quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson regresses based on last year. Lamar had a great year last year, a year he has never had before. He's not a guy that throws a lot of touchdowns. He's a 20 to 25 touchdown year kind of guy, threw over 41, didn't have a lot of interceptions either. Having this amazing year, he's definitely regressing. Jaden Daniels, you don't want to be caught in a sophomore slump, although I heard he's working on his footwork, amazing talent. Josh Allen's already gone. So I just got to take a look at running back. I did go Christian McCaffrey last time. He just looks like the best value here. We've already talked about Breece Hall and the coach saying they're going to be in a committee, which is a mess. Joe Mixon's older. I don't like Chuba. I don't like Walker. I don't like Kamara. Definitely don't like Connor with Trey Benson there. He's going to take a step up this year. Najee's interesting as an RB3. Depending on how he gets implemented on the Chargers offense, are they going to draft another guy? If not, I think it's a good system where he's going to be efficient, although he's not an exciting player. So it's a tough decision. I mean, the only thing that's kind of sticking out for me, Laporta, McBride, I mean, you got a safe tight end, but nothing exciting. The only safe option here is if you want to, pull the trigger on a quarterback, that could be okay. But you also want to take a look at a running back. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab Christian McCaffrey. Now I've got like my 3 workhorse running backs with minimal committees. They're not going to be fighting for volume. They're going to be the guys on their team. Okay. Then I take a look at quarterback, what quarterback fell here. Baker, Mahomes, Goff. Nix, I think, has got a ton of upside this year. I can take a quick glance at running back. Don't like this, right? Unless Hampton, depending on where he lands, I would, going 4 running backs is wild. Me, I'm crazy enough to do that because I know where the value is. But I do like this Marvin Harrison pick. This is very similar to my other mock draft, but he just looks like the best value there. If you take a look at the other options here, you got Sutton, who I think takes a step up with Bo Nix, but he's older, you've kind of seen what he does. Williams is the 2. Wilson, I don't trust the Jets. Zay Flowers is safe, but he's just not amazing, right? Then you've got this cluster of KC wide receivers fighting who the wide receiver 1 is, looming suspensions, who knows, right? And then you're kind of getting into these other guys here, which you can wait for. So knowing that Marvin Harrison is the true one on his team, it'd be crazy not to consider him, knowing that he's going to take a step up this year, knowing that he's got some rapport with Kyler Murray. And I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, but you're getting the one on the team with no committee and guaranteed volume. It almost seems like a no-brainer, knowing that there's no way but up for Marvin Harrison Jr. here. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him. Again, this is all pre-NFL draft. It's totally going to change. The ADPs are going to change. Rookies are going to slide up and down. It's going to be wild, but this is just an initial layout from the 6th position here. So we got one more pick here. I definitely want to anchor my team with an ace quarterback. I think Pat Mahomes is a safe play here. I think Jared Goff is going to have a great year. Baker is okay, just not exciting. You got your Bo Nix and Herbert. And I think if you wait and you want Bo Nix and Herbert to be your ace, I think you can hold off. And look at the value on like Stroud this year, man. Like he was coming off early last year, right? So there is value at quarterback, especially in a 1 quarterback league. But if you want a safe quarterback, this is the time to grab Pat Mahomes. If you want to pad your wide receivers a little bit, you could do that. I still think you get value at tight end later. I wouldn't mind considering like a Sutton or something like that here. It's totally up to you. Zay Flowers, again, I don't trust. So I would take a look at, let's take a running back as well. Hampton's so tempting here. I can't wait to see where he lands because he's really, really good. I'm just going to go ahead and just anchor my team with an ace quarterback. Let's go Goff here to wrap it up, okay? And then we'll kind of go over this here. So if you guys are listening in the car, we went Genty, Kyren, McCaffrey, Marvin Harrison, and Goff. And then we're going to start loading up more wide receivers. But I just wanted to give you kind of like a lay of the land here. I really wanted you to see where players are coming off. Some big names: Josh Allen round 3, Lamar Jackson round 3, kind of right after. We got Jaden Daniels and Burrow coming off round 3. Marvin Harrison falling to the 4th, right? David Montgomery in the 4th, but again, he's the 2 there, and he's had his share of injuries. I don't trust him. Najee, the RB1 on his team, probably in a good system, coming off round 4, right? So there's like definitely some different look from last year for sure. Pacheco, Brian Robinson, guys like that, Tony Pollard, your Tyrone Trace, all coming off round 5, decent value for, again, if you wait and you go 0 RB, then you're looking at like Chuba as your RB1 or Pollard or Montgomery or Connor. And I don't trust these guys. As Breece Hall, which I love the talent, but when the coach is saying they're running a committee, that's a huge issue for me. So again, when you take a look at this, you got to just take a look at the landscape and decide what you want to prioritize. And I like to prioritize running backs early and then make executive decisions there. But you are seeing that even if you wait after a robust RB, there's still tons of wide receiver ones. There's still good quarterbacks that you can get, and you don't have to invest earlier in those guys, all right? So fantasy football mock draft for you, 6th position, just lay of the land here. We are so close to the NFL draft. It's going to be wild. It's going to be fun. And as soon as that's done, I lay out 16 rounds and I give it to you. But you can pre-order right now. Grab it below. Use code DRAFT to save 20%. Hopefully I had some fun here, got some knowledge, understand my thinking. I don't think like everybody else, and that's why I win. That's why everybody that gets and follows my stuff doesn't have to worry about losing. You're always going to finish on top. All right? Subscribe, thumbs up, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to do more mock drafts, drafting from different positions. It's going to be fun. We'll talk soon, guys. Hit the thumbs up and turn on the bell. We're going hard for Fantasy Football 2025. I'm out.